Well, welcome everybody to the Panel of Courage. So, yeah, I'm your panel host today. I'm Eric Walker, and go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Niki Botelho.
Kevin Thompson.
Margo Apostolos.
Yeah.
And this is Zeus.
And this is Zeus, and Zeus is an Ewok today, so. Well, this year marks the 40th anniversary of Caravan of Courage. I can't believe I'm in Dallas talking about this right now. Who would have thought 40 years later, right? And also, this month actually marks when we started filming the Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventure. We started filming it on June 11th, 1984. Today is June 28th, so this would be the 15th day of shooting. So, how do I remember all that? I don't know. But it was quite an adventure.
I always thought it was started in May, but so I was
That's
was
the
the
second
second
one
one.
for Endor. So
and then Jedi started in April.
April 82 or
82, yeah.
yeah.
The end of April and the whole month of May.
April, June, May.
Yeah.
Because we went home on
Yeah, let's go ahead and everybody say what character they played. I played Mace Tawani, who is, as you know, is Star Wars' first Mace. Sorry, Sam Jackson. And go ahead.
I played Teak, that little guy that zoomed around real quick, right?
I was everyone's hero, Chukachuk.
Yes.
And then in the second movie, I played multiple Ewoks, just like I did in Jedi. I did, since if you haven't seen Courage, I won't, well, I'll spoil the ending. But I died.
Yeah.
So I come back as multiple Ewoks in Battle for Endor and do multiple stunts for multiple people.
Who did you play in Return of the Jedi?
I played multiple characters. My main one was Chubray, but then I also did stunts for Papalu, Logray, and Tebow. And I take out all three TSTs. I come swinging in on the village. I probably kill 40 stormtroopers. So I am a number one villain for the Empire. I am Robin Hood.
And I was like, I am Batman.
I am Batman.
And I'm the Joker.
Margo, who did you play?
I played Tokat, the Ewok.
Nice.
I was one of the fighters.
With the bow and arrow?
Yeah, well, and I had 3 different clubs. I had the bow and arrow, but the one I had the most was my hatchet, and then I had a spear. But the one I used the most was my hatchet.
Okay. Well, let's start with Niki. How did you get the role in Ewoks: A Battle for Endor? You probably have a nice story about that, right?
Lord, I know. I'm like, okay, let me give you the abbreviated version.
Okay.
Started out doing stunts for Warwick. Teak was a puppet, and Wilford was just not having it, interacting with a puppet. And he would get all pissed off. Sometimes I would stay and even read just for line of sight for him. You know what I mean? So he could interact with a real person. So I was 16 years old. I was just happy to be out of school and, have all the cookies in the world at craft service. So next thing you know, they changed my call time. Your 6 a.m. creature shop. I'm sitting there, full life body cast. Didn't even know they got straws up my nose to breathe. I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not claustrophobic. Or they didn't even warn me what was going on. My parents were up there signing contracts, and
Your life away.
there you go. Exactly. Signing me over to a studio teacher, as a guardian, and that was it, pretty much. So thank you, Wilford. Mwah.
Yeah. And how did you get Chukachuk?
Chukachuk, they chose several. If you had been in Return of the Jedi and they brought everyone in and they did a camera test of you in the outfit, they gave me a couple of different, they were looking for the family, Warwick was already cast, and then they were casting around Warwick for the family, and then there was going to be several separate parts. They didn't tell me who I was playing. They just gave me a 3-sentence character description of he's big, he's fun, but he's tough. And so I thought of a couple of different things. I thought of, at the time, Hoss Cartwright from Bonanza, and then I also thought of like Santa Claus. If Santa Claus was tough, he would be more like, jovial, but very tough. He can be he was exactly what I wanted all the Ewoks to be, not so cute and cuddly like Warwick and Wicket. I wanted to be a very tough Ewok, and that's what Chukatrak was. I had an axe. I was scared of nothing. There was nothing that Chukatrak could not do, and that was a lovely character to play. And so I just came up with the character within. I probably had about 25 seconds to come up with the character that Chukatrak became.
Margo, on Jedi, how did you get the role of Toolkit?
Well, I know at first the guy that had hired me for Under the Rainbow had asked me if I wanted to apply for that. So then we went through all those. Didn't we have to do all those choreographies?
Dave Eamon and Bill Lytle had worked with a lot of little people on Return of the Jedi. That's what you were saying?
Right. Well, they met us on Under the Rainbow, and then they asked us if we wanted to.
They brought back all the little people that they liked for the auditions for the Ewoks.
Right. Yeah, so then we went through that procedure. It was, a couple days? Where we had to do, to see if we're, can move around and stuff?
Well, my audition was different than yours, because I auditioned for the stunts.
Okay. Okay, well, we went to this audition where we had a choreographer, and we had to do all this intense, movement to make sure that we can run around in those big outfits.
Do you mean after you got cast when we were working with Wendy up in Crescent City?
Was that afterwards? I thought, well, a lot of people said that we had to make sure that we can move around in order to, that we were liable in order to
Right,
do it.
exactly. They needed very agile little people.
My brain's just right now.
It's all right.
Yeah, they needed a lot of agile people. So anyway, George Lucas picked us, didn't he?
Exactly.
So he just wanted to make sure that we'd be able to do the job, because if you can't run, you're going to be flopping all over the place. So, so I was one of the ones that got casted, which I thought was cool.
Okay, so for me, how I got the part of Mace Tawani, I came in like a little over a month before the filming started. They couldn't find a Mace. They already found Sindel and Aubrey Miller. They were looking in New York, San Francisco, they were in LA. They came back to LA a second time, and that's when I came in. They wanted to just meet me to do a general interview. I didn't have to read or do anything. They just wanted to see if I looked like the part. So my dad got a call from my agent, said, I have an audition for Eric. It's a 1-hour after school special. And he's kind of a rough character and mean, so have him dressed like a bully. So I showed up there, and then they liked my look. And I met with John Cordy, who directed it, and Thomas Smith. And they said, I know we told your agent we didn't want you to read, but the executive producer's not here. Of course, they didn't tell me it was George Lucas, obviously. And the side scene that they gave me, which we call sides, didn't have any Ewoks in it, so I had no idea what I was doing. It was just a character, Mace and Sindel. And I said to John, well, you really got, this is only, you want me to go and learn these sides, and you just gave them to me. Well, just go with your dad and study him. I go, I'll do it on one condition, if you let me do my monologue. I was trying to be a very serious actor, and I had this monologue that I prepared where it's a very emotional monologue from a play called Acting Out, and it's this kid's journey to from having an abusive father to a mother, and then his parents die, and it's a very emotional scene. And so I did that, and then I did this scene, and they said, thank you, we'll be in touch, and that was it. And then later, probably a week or so later, they asked for a screen test because they wanted Aubrey Miller and myself to do a screen test. So we flew up to Mill Valley at Cordy Films, which is near San Rafael. And they filmed us all day long doing scenes. And that's when I found out it was Ewoks, because we were doing scenes with Ewoks in them. And they were worried because Aubrey was only 4 years old, Aubrey Miller, who played Sindel. And they thought she was going to be afraid of an Ewok. So they brought out an Ewok that was on a stick, and she immediately ran up and started hugging it. So they got their answer. It's a lovely little teddy bear. So then they said, "Can you wait a few minutes?" And they went in some other office. I don't know. They might have been looking at scenes or talking to George. And then they came out and told us we both got the part. It was very fast, and
Have you seen George?
I had not met George, and I kind of at that time knew because I'd seen Return of the Jedi and I saw Ewoks. It was one of my favorite films the year before, so I was a big Star Wars fan and geek as well. So, and it was very quick, and I was a little bit chubby at that time. I always had a weight problem, and they said to me, "Can you please try to lose 30 pounds?" I go, "Well, we're shooting in 30 days. Well, try to lose as much as you can." I lost 25 pounds in 30 days.
Oh my God,
And,
how old are you though? Young, yeah.
I was 14.
How dare
wasn't
they?
no,
You're
it's
in
okay.
jail now.
That's why you were hangry all the time.
That's why, yeah, that's why I was a little brat, yeah. And even when we were filming the movie, it's like about 2/3 of the way through, they told my dad, "It looks like I'm gaining weight, so be careful," because the craft service
Craft
table.
service, thank you.
The cookies, everything, so.
Best part.
So that it was a lot of fun. Let's start with Niki. Can you share a story that happened when you were making the movie? Something that's memorable to you that you want to share with everybody?
God.
Don't share an unfortunate one, but something that's memorable.
Not unfortunate. I'm like the only one that really comes into mind that I said before is when I fell down the ravine.
Yeah, go ahead and tell that one.
Okay. So anyway, we're filming Teek's POV, right, over my shoulder into a ravine, and these marauders are, descending down the hill.
bad guys.
The bad guys, I know, right? Thank you for translating. So they're coming down the hill, so you see them, coming down. It just looks like the hill's moving because you're like gray and green and all that, right? So it was Joe Johnson. It was 2nd unit, and First unit, Wheat Brothers, had the brilliant idea that they wanted me to get up after, like they panned around, whatever, and walk out of frame. And Joe was like, "I'm not comfortable with this," but DUP on the slate. That's when I learned what directed under protest. So this is back in the day too, right? 85. Now it'd be like, but he covered his ass, and he was. And of course, they had people down on this side because it dropped down here, right? Does that make sense? And the hill's over here, creek at the bottom. Padding in case I fell, you know what I mean? Like all ready to catch me. Of course, I got that walked, just beyond the padding and just right down. It just tumbled. And I was 16. I'm like, just go loose, just roll with it, right? Like what Melissa McCarthy in Identity Theft when she gets hit by the car, just go loose. So anyway, I just went loose, got down to the end, like the bottom there, almost stuck the landing, stuck it with one foot, and then blam, face down in the water. And it just fills up with water because it's padding, so it's heavy. But I had these huge marauders, and they were UCSF basketball players. So huge guys, cool guys, came in and just ripped me up out of the creek, tear off my head, and then they still have their heads on, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And, and like, whoa, heavy trip. So that was my deal. And then so as a little joke, makeup, Creature Shot painted a big old bruise on my back. And then, of course, everybody heard about it, right? We go down to base camp, and the Wheat brothers are there, and they're like, "Are you okay?" Whatever. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's good, but my back's a little sore." And I pull that, and it's like purple and like beyond, like it couldn't even possibly be that dark, And they're like, "Did someone take her to the hospital?" I can hear them. And of course, this is back in the day when my parents couldn't just sit there on set and stare at me, so they had to work. So I was signed over to studio teachers. So they're like, "Damn good, her parents aren't around." So anyway, I couldn't hold it very long, and I just started laughing, and they didn't think it was too funny, but everybody else got a kick out of it because they were like, some people shitless, but
Yeah.
but that was it. It was fun. I'm alive.
You have anything to share, Kevin? A memorable story from?
One of the most memorable things is one of those things that production doesn't think about. That as an Ewok, what do we kind of look like? Teddy bears, but we're bears. And what are we riding all through Caravan of Courage? We're riding on horses. So what is the basically the enemy of a horse? A bear. And so we are bears riding on the back of horses. And a horse does not realize that it's a fake bear. It sees that it's a bear. And so every time I would get on a horse, because Chukatrak always rode the horse, which your character always said, "How come I have to walk?"
Yeah.
But I rode the horse. The horse would always try and knock me off or buck me off or go right into the trees and knock me off the tree. And so it was a constant thing. And guess what you can do in an Ewok outfit? You can't see. So the horse is trying to knock me off, but I can't see that the horse is trying to. I know that the horse is trying to knock me off, but it cannot knock me off, because an Ewok outfit, I don't know if anybody realizes what this is, kind of the same thing with the teak outfit. We start with baby blue pajamas, so it's very manly. And then we start after that, we have a fat suit that goes it's in 3 pieces. It's I called it a pork chop on each leg. It was 2 inches of padding all around. And then we have a Michelin suit on top, which is like from my wrist to my waist, which is a fat. Now we stick over a fur coat over that, then latex hands and latex feet, then a latex mask with plastic eyes. So as soon as the mask goes on, the plastic eyes fog up and you can't see anything. It's like driving without your defogger on. And they're doing explosions. We have trees blowing up. We have lasers going here and there. I caught on fire about 4 times, but counting Jedi. So it's just, we had pieces of redwood trees, which would probably be 20 feet long, come flying at us, landing within inches sometimes of us. And so,
CG.
so no CGI. This is actual pieces of 20-foot pieces of redwood come flying at us. So it was, a walk in the park.
Literally, right?
Literally, yes. Literally,
ride.
yes. And I'd have to do the run after when Sindel gets lost with the horse and the horse runs away, then I have to chase after it. And I don't know if you guys, how many people ride horses here? Okay. Do you ride blind? Do you ride blind? Now ride that same horse with your eyes closed, wearing a bear suit.
Yeah. In the summer.
In the summer. In the summer. So that's, both ways, uphill. So it was those things. Those are the little things behind the scenes that are always such a, as you're doing it, you're going, what the heck am I doing? But afterwards, 40 years later, you're going, hey, I survived. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Nice. Cheers.
Didn't you? I remember a story you were talking about. Tony, it happened to Tony Cox. You want to share that?
Tony Cox, who played the little brother, Wicket's older brother, Wooly.
I think they changed the name to Whittle, though.
Whittle, that's
Yeah.
it, Whittle. Tony Cox and Debbie Carrington were very fun. They're perfectly cast because Debbie and Tony were best friends, but they were both full of, Debbie especially was full of piss and vinegar. And Tony was just, he could give it, but he hated taking it. He loved giving it, but he couldn't take it. And Debbie could,
Pretty kinky.
Debbie could give it, just being, just busting its other's chops. That was that type of thing. But he was riding a horse, and he somehow slipped off. And it's just a little pony. We're talking a little pony. And he's hanging onto the neck of the pony. And he's literally probably 6 inches off the ground. And he's hollering like he's for his life. Because he can't see. He doesn't know how far he is away. And he's hanging onto the neck going, please, someone help me, someone help me. Well, the crew is just busted up. The crew is busted up. There's no film running, but the crew is just busted up because they know it's just 6 inches. Just drop. And we're saying drop, T,
And
drop.
Imagine Tony.
No.
Hell.
And it's like hanging on to the horse's neck, and it's like, dude, just drop. Just drop. You're in a Ewok outfit. It's not gonna hurt. Just drop. And when nobody goes to save him, but it's just because we're just all caught up going, this can't be happening. You're 6 inches off the ground, hollering for your life. And it went on for probably, I want to say 5 minutes, but I know it wasn't that long. But it went on for, it was just hollering because it was just like, it was just so funny listening to Tony holler for dear life, he's screaming that he's being killed or something. It's just, we're just waiting for him to just drop. And he finally dropped. He goes, and he comes back afterwards that night, because we roomed right next to each other. He goes, I wasn't really that far off the ground, was I? I went, no, T, you weren't.
No.
Yeah, no, T, you weren't off the ground at all. You were like 5 inches, 6 inches. He goes, man, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I thought I was like 4 feet. And I was like, no, dude, you're like 6 inches.
I love it. Do that again. Do the Tony impression.
I wasn't really that far off the ground, was I? Tony and I go back years. We both played on a basketball team called the Hollywood Shorties. And Tony was the point guard. He could shoot we played against average-sized teams. We're kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters, but a little bit smaller. And so we didn't slam dunk. We shot from outside. And Tony was actually our highlight of the thing, because Tony is only 3'6".
That's my size.
Right, okay. Could you imagine Niki shooting the ball consistently from half court, making it from half court at a full size at like the Laker halftime?
Come on now.
And he shot underhanded.
He did, yeah.
He shot underhanded, and he was actually, I saw him in one game, he shot 16 in a row from behind the 3-point line. And it was truly an amazing thing. Yeah, it was truly an amazing thing. You'd have to tell the other team, because an 8-year-old child can block his shot. And so as he was shooting, somebody would come in and hit it and go, yeah, I'm back. I was like, yeah, you missed a bad, aren't you? Yeah, you missed a bad. Anybody can block his shot. Watch one go by and see him make it. Watch what the crowd does. And they're going, what? And so that would happen, and they'd pretend like they were going to block the shot, and he'd go flying in, and he'd make it, and the crowd goes nuts. And I'd go back to the guy going, see? That's the show. That's the
TikTok would be all over that.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
Oh,
they would.
dude.
We were the wrong timing. We were the wrong
I
time.
know, right? It's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Exactly.
is that why Tony always would tell me, he can't play no basketball?
Right. No,
He
you
would
have
say
to-
that to me all the time, teasing me.
Yeah. Nope.
Like white boys can't jump.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He can act, but he can't play no basketball. Margo, do you remember anything that happened on Jedi?
Well, I remember one time when we went through the explosive scene.
Right.
They told us, they go, okay, there's one here. Now don't go near there. And I remember we were running, and Felix caught on fire. And he's running, going, help, 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 help. And there's a guy following him with a fire extinguisher. All he had to do is stop. But he kept running, help, help, help. And the guy was chasing him. I was
Time
standing
it was
going,
social
yeah.
media was then,
The guy
right?
was chasing him. But I don't know, I liked running, I liked beating up on the stormtroopers. That was my funniest thing, to just take them out, you know? And like that time, I remember one time they told us, okay, you guys, I want you all to beat up on the stormtroopers, right? And we had rubber clubs. So we literally were beating them up, and the guys were screaming, help, help, help. And the director goes, cut. Don't really beat up on them, pretend. And practically all the Ewoks said, you told us to beat them up, so we beat them up. You know, but that one stuck. What about when the one where we were protesting? They made us
Well,
all
what had
shirts.
happened was the protest was the Ewoks were paid by day. They were made $100 a day. So, on Return of the Jedi.
What was that?
Now, it was 82. So that was pretty good money at that time.
Yeah, it was.
So the thing about it, when they say a day to a person, that means, would you say 8 hours? 8 hours is a day. And so that's what we thought of, and then you'd make overtime after that. Production heard a day, and so that was no matter what. So the Ewoks said, after their paychecks, they're like, where's my overtime? They're saying, no, you said you made $100 a day, so they got no overtime. So they went, well, this isn't right. So how do we rectify this situation? Because as Tracy writes in our book, we'll do it next time, Ewoks don't grow on trees. So if we don't want to work, they're not going to find any other little people to do it. So we all stuck together as a group and didn't show up one day. We didn't show up one day. The bus came in and no Ewoks were on the bus.
They dropped us off.
I'm getting there. And so production was like, oh my gosh, where's the Ewoks? And the casting guy said, they went home. They're at the airport. Said, we don't need to do this without any overtime. And it's where a village comes together and gets to take over the king being production. So they said that scene was going to be all Ewoks that day. Everybody else. And so they went, okay,
Like how many?
give them 35.
Oh, shit.
There's 35 Ewoks that decided not to be there. And so they went, okay, give them what we want, go to the airport. This is before cell phones. So somebody had to literally drive in a car to go to the airport, which was an hour away in Eureka. So they're driving as fast as they can to get there, but before they leave, we jump out of the wardrobe trailers because we had been dropped off early. We had gone in at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and call time is 7. So we got there before any time. A Teamster driver dropped us off, opened the wardrobe trailers. All the Ewoks snuck in there. They stayed very still and waited until the thing of give them what they want. Ewoks, Revenge of the Ewoks, and they had all T-shirts.
You
of-
bluffed and you got it.
Right.
But
Good
we
for
went
you
marching-
guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
We
You
went
bluffed
marching
it.
down that hill too. Remember, revenge, revenge. We had our Ewok shirts on that they made us.
Okay, I don't remember
Yeah.
that part,
I
but
do.
hey,
I do
we all
because-
have. Okay, you
No.
remember it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
No.
Don't get mad.
I'm not.
Don't go revenge on me.
I'm not mad. I'm just saying. 'Cause
Okay.
I remember them dropping us off because
I
we
was
go,
the
Ewok,
code on
Ewok.
because I was on contract. So I was on contract, so I couldn't be. I was getting overtime. I was on $100
Right,
a
but we
day. I
weren't.
was right.
And no, we had our shirts and the guys were like, where are they? And then all of a sudden we come marching down the hill going, revenge, revenge.
All I
revenge."
remember is you guys jumped out of the wardrobe trailers.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
35.
35.
Oh,
Yes.
damn, that's a
Yeah.
sight, huh?
So
No, yeah.
you were saying revenge, so you guys were like
Yeah.
Ewok Sith.
Yeah.
Just-
Because we wanted
Uh-huh.
revenge.
yeah.
I still have my shirt.
All it was overtime. Really, what we had asked for was overtime. They could have probably asked for SAG contracts, and they probably would have given it to them.
Right, at that point.
Maybe, yeah.
Should've.
So that's one of those things that we were able to overcome a big obstacle, and so it made everybody happy. And actually, that day we got a lot of work done. because every day on Jedi was explosions and running around and ticks in the hair and wasps and bees and all sorts of different things because you're in the wild.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
You cleared the path and you made it right. So by the time I came along, it was all good.
Right. They went and gave you a contract just
There
like
you
that.
go.
That's why there was a couple of Ewoks, not myself because I was too big. We're like, how did she get the job?
Ah,
did
see?
you get the job?
See, I could see
Wait
with
a
one eye
minute.
open. I
Yeah.
did.
Oh yeah, you did. I know who it was.
You see,
I'm not
thank
saying
you.
any names,
Thank
but
you, Kevin, for coming clean. Thank you.
I'm not
'cause
saying any names.
I heard rumors.
I wasn't going to be casting it anyway because I'm the big guy. I was playing multiple Ewoks anyway.
Right, you had
Yeah,
your
then you
fill.
went and got she got the credit too, right in the beginning of the show. Niki Botelho was like, "What about Chukachok?
Yeah.
What about me?"
That was Ian's gift to me.
Yeah.
Ian Bryce. He's
Ian
like,
Bryce,
you're
yeah.
gonna owe me a case of beer, Nikki.
Yeah,
And I didn't know how important
Ian
it
Bryce
was
almost got me killed in the beginning on our book. He's the one that almost got me killed on that one.
Good
Ian
old
Bryce
Ian.
now he was a PA, now he's an executive producer of like Saving Private Ryan. So
Oh, yeah.
he's done very well.
Big time.
For sure.
Yeah.
As far as myself, I have many stories I could share. One story which I shared recently, a couple days ago when we were filming inside the Star Cruiser, the 20s, and Mace comes barging in and has Whittle by the gun, and he shoots the blaster as a warning. He shoots the blaster, and as special effects, they have squibs that sparks go off. And we're inside this tiny Star Cruiser, and the sparks go off, and a couple of the sparks actually went inside my boot and started burning my sock. And of course, I didn't say anything while it was happening until they said cut, and then I'm jumping up and down, like doing a jig, like maybe I was trying to invent some new Ewok dance or something. And I finally, and they were looking at me like, what? And I finally said, my sock is on fire, and then I fell to the ground, and it came in rush, and I was okay. I had a little bit of a burn, and then went back to filming.
Back in the day.
Yeah, but we all kind of have a story about some fire thing I noticed.
There's a lot of explosions.
There was.
There's a lot of explosions going on. They're very close.
Yeah.
Like we said, pre-CGI, man.
Yeah,
We had to
pre-CGI.
actually
It's
do
real,
that shit. Yeah.
real stuff. It's like standing right next to 4th of July.
Well, I mean, it certainly helped, get into character.
Oh, yeah.
If you, yeah, for sure, hearing
Too bad
explosions.
you can't see the
Well,
facial
there's
expression.
Yeah, you
two
guys
different-
can't.
There's two different types of practical explosions. If you
Mike,
guys
can
know.
you pick up your mic?
Oh, okay. I thought I got a mic. There's two types of practical explosions. There's mortars and there's squibs. The squibs are the small ones that just kind of go, psh, they're a little spoke. But a mortar has actually got black powder in there, and it actually makes a sound. It goes,
Yes.
and it has many times it has debris in there and an explosion and fire that comes out. And so if you're next to that one, that's the one that's going to catch your back on fire. Those things have happened. That's probably what happened with Felix when he was just too close to the mortar. It goes, and sparks is just going to burn your foot a little bit.
Right,
You get a
yeah.
little hot foot.
Yeah, they had.
Mortar's
those-
going to take off your foot.
Yeah, they had the motors on when the Gorax's pet boar was chasing us, and I was firing at the tree.
Right.
Because I remember the big sounds going off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were pretty far away from it, so it didn't catch us on fire like Felix, which is good.
Well, I know before we filmed, they showed us, they go, okay, one's gonna go off here, here, here. They warned us where they were gonna go off, so we.
That's
Can't
true.
See shit
Yeah, no,
inside
but
of
I'm
them,
just saying,
right? Yeah.
they still warned us where they're gonna be, so just to be careful.
Well, Felix was a stunt guy, so he was supposed to be closer. That was our job, was to be closer to as close as possible to the mortar.
That's what you get
That's
paid
what
for,
that's what
yeah.
we get paid for.
Yeah.
Right, huh?
Get the big bucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a liquid smoke story. I didn't catch
Yeah,
on
go ahead.
fire, but
Liquid smoke. Okay.
yeah,
I'd
like
to hear this.
so when I was doing stunts for Wicket, like the first week or two,
Right.
and we're talking the stunts, we're like, okay, you're gonna sit on this log and it's gonna be fire and you're gonna pat it and then fall off. Woo, woo, tough stunt, right? You know, so, and what they did is they just put liquid smoke on there. So, you know, they have the fire, fall off, pat it, whatever. We take off the Ewok suit. It's still smoking. That padded, you know, thick like furniture padding, Michelin Man thing. That's still smoking. They're just like, and they're like all quiet, but I can hear them behind me. Like, shit, what do we do, right? Take down the blue pajama bottom still. Didn't get the butt, just the underwear, so all good. But sorry, it just rang a bell when you guys.
I remember
talked about
that scene. That's when Wicket and Sindel are.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
After
great
they get-
memory.
yeah, after they get-
kicked out from Noah.
Right.
The boot, and they're all cold and shit by the
Yep.
fire. I think, yep. I did a double whammy because I did that, and then I was sneaking them biscuits. Holy shit! I played two. Didn't even know it.
We have
Same
children
scene.
here.
Oh.
Oops.
Yeah. Another scene. When you make movies, sometimes things almost happen. And I was sharing this story. Aubrey Miller, who played Sindel, suddenly got sick the first week we were filming. So she couldn't film any of the scenes. So she had a photo double named Bianca Rose, and I was sharing this. So she was filming. They were worried she was going to stay sick, so she started filming the scenes with me in case she had to take over the role. So, and if you watch certain scenes like where we stop to, she's tired and says she's tired, and we have the campfire scene. If you freeze frame it as we're running and she sits down, you could see it's Bianca. They didn't even cut her out of it. So it's, and another thing is Aubrey Miller was too young to do looping, ADR looping. So in the first movie, it's not her voice. The entire movie. It was dubbed by an actress named Tiffany Brissett. She was an actress, and she did a Saturday morning show called Small Wonder. She was the robot. So I was surprised at that. But in the second movie, she was a year older, and at 5, she was able to do the ADR work, which is looping and stuff like that in the studio. She did a great job in the second one. So that's her voice in the second one.
Do you remember I just had like a flashback for some reason of Aubrey's hair was
Yes.
stick straight.
Yes,
and
she had
to
very
put it
straight
in
hair.
Rollers every night. And I came on the second one, so she was like, what, 6, 5?
No, she was 5, yeah.
5, yeah. But imagine this 5-year-old having, you know what I mean, to put the rollers in every night. I'm like, what a trooper. And I remember because sometimes when we were filming at the ranch and it was really hot, they can go swimming, like at lunch, right? But she couldn't unless she had done all her scenes because she couldn't get her hair wet. And I couldn't because instead of having gloves for teak, they put these little rubber tips on and painted them, my hands. So if I got them wet, whatever, you know what I mean, they'd have to repaint them. So, and there's a funny story too. I had a white T-shirt underneath, the blue bottoms and the white T-shirt. And for some reason, it was orange on my boobs. Like, my hands were orange, like I was feeling
Your
myself
chest?
up. My chest, exactly. White chest. But it was, you know what I mean? And I think it's because it was the makeup came to right here, and whenever I would brush it against it, but I'm like, oh my God, right? But sometimes they felt bad. They're like, okay, what scene do you have? If I didn't have a scene, like right after lunch, they let me go swimming. You know, it didn't help I sat there, right?
Did you swim in Lake Ewok?
Yeah.
Wow, I never did. There's a lot of fish in there and scum and musk.
I
and
know, right?
Didn't look good for fishing.
We were
I don't know about.
kids. It was all
Okay.
good, you
All right.
know? Just get
Good.
in the water.
All right.
Yeah, the only pond I got to swim in was the Magic Pond, which they made on the first movie, but I didn't get a swim in that. I'm sad. No, just joking.
I'm like, wait, did you guys know something I
You
didn't
two
know?
took the look of what Ewok Lake looks like. It's a lake
Yes.
with fish.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah,
There's
with
like a dock, and then you could swim out to the little raft thing in the middle. And
you can go swim in that. I'll go swim in the ocean.
we're kids, man. It's all fun.
Yeah. So I mean, filming on Caravan of Courage, we filmed what 5-6 weeks, something like that.
Easy, yeah. I thought it was
Yeah.
8, but okay.
And then then there was a break, and then we came back and started filming again with the reshoots. And it's kind of interesting because the internet's so crazy about, oh, they're refilming the entire movie, and we're all thinking, like on the new stuff, like the Force Awakens, not the Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, and all that other stuff, how they're doing reshoots, and everybody says, the movie's terrible, they're doing reshoots, and we're doing reshoots all the time. So, and
Reshoots are always just an editor says these scenes don't match. We have to redo it so it matches.
in George Lucas's case, I don't like the gulping flower scene, so I'm gonna write a whole new scene where you stick your hand in a tree monster. So, and the reason why I brought that up is because George Lucas actually directed the whole 1 week reshoot, which a lot of people didn't know until, a few years ago. So
Pickup shots.
the pickup
Yeah,
shots,
pickup
yeah,
shots, right?
that's a better word for it. And also Kevin, if you want to talk, Kevin played Chukatrak, and we had a death scene. So it was his idea, and one of the things, and Kevin and I have been friends forever, and he was like a big brother to me, and he mentored me. And remember, you wanted us to rehearse it, so.
Well, it was a big scene, very, very pivotal in Caravan of Courage. And so I said, look, do you want to practice that scene of doing that? Because it's my death scene, and it's where I give him the axe to give to him. And he goes, nah, I got it. Yeah, you were like, nah, I got it. Yeah. And it was, I finally talked to your dad, and I said, can we just work the scene in my hotel room with both of you there, you watching it, and then we can just work the scene before John gets this, and then we'll just have a working, relationship together on that. So then John can then fit in and do some touch-ups. So we rehearsed probably for a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
A good hour and a half of and then you found different things on that.
Yeah, no, it
you
definitely
had
helped
different
me.
emotions, and you found the different colors of each. Because it's not, you think I'm alive and I'm dying.
Right,
And so it's a big emotional for you, and then I'm dying. So actually, I wanted to practice. So I convinced your dad that you would practice, so that
Sounds
I could
like me
get
at
the
the time,
practice
yeah.
in, so I could get you to practice the scene for both of us. So it's
Good for him. It'll be good for him.
It'll be good for him.
Yeah, Chukatrak, teaching Mace humility.
Exactly.
Which is great, no. And because of that, what happened after that? What did George do after that?
Oh, after that, I was the last Ewok to die, because I actually, Amber Lucas, right? That's who we made the
Amanda.
movie. Amanda Lucas was basically who we made this movie for, and Amanda was kind of always scared of my character. For 8 weeks I was going, I'm going to get cut out of this movie. She doesn't like me, all this type of stuff. And then when she watches it and I die, I actually made her cry. I actually made her tear up and cry. She goes, no, Chukatrak can't die. I don't like that. So George's like, oh, great. You made my daughter cry, so that's it. No Ewoks die.
He promised her no Ewoks would die, but we'll just kill the whole family in a second.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're
There you
human.
go.
They're
Yeah,
human.
they're not Ewoks.
You set the stage.
I
Because
did.
Amanda Lucas is a cage fighter now.
Right, exactly.
So she was
You
drawn.
did.
She was drawn to the badass Ewok
Right,
with
exactly.
the axe and the bow and arrow
Right.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Little did you know.
Right, exactly.
Right on.
I drove her to the dark side. No idea.
Okay, so does anybody in the audience have any questions they want to ask any of us? I guess not. Okay.
Don't speak at once.
Probably got way more information than you even ever wanted
Yeah,
to know,
right.
right?
Go ahead.
All right, so you mentioned Under the Rainbow earlier. I've watched that movie when I was probably way too young.
Right?
I understand it. I haven't watched it in a long time. Would you mind talking about your experiences on that?
On Under the Rainbow? Yeah. Under the Rainbow was fun because it was both Margo and I's first movie working on. They had cast, it's kind of fictitious about what was going on during Wizard of Oz. But the neat thing about Wizard of Oz, the true story, is that they did bring little people from all over the world to do this movie. And so there was a lot of, during the vaudeville age, there was a lot of troops of little people who would do singing groups or dancing or different things like that. And so all those groups of people were contacted by MGM and brought to Hollywood in Truthful. And in this one, they kind of brought that back, but then we brought a Billy Barty playing a Nazi spy, and Mako playing a Japanese spy, and all these other little things going on. But the movie was supposed to be 8 weeks, and it was done during the strike of the SAG strike of 1980. So it was the only thing going on in town. So everybody wanted to get in on it. And Orion, who was the producers of it, said, we'll shoot this, some really good scenes in the first couple of weeks, and maybe we'll get extended. Well, it was an 8-week movie that went 22 weeks. So this is my first movie, so this is like, this is lovely. I love this movie. This is how Hollywood's made. And all the old guys who had been around, one guy who actually was in Wizard of Oz, Jerry Marin, he goes, don't get used to this. This is not what happens. This is not what happens. This is, I don't know what this is, but enjoy it while you can. Take your money, run, save your money, whatever it is, but this does not happen. And it's true. I've never been on a movie like it. How about you? No. No. And so it's just, Lucas was nothing like that. We had games. They had video games for us. We had lunch. We had beer, like imported beer on tap and on ice. And it was
We got
with,
a
no, with Under the Rainbow. Well, we never had that with Lucas.
Never.
No, we didn't have that with Lucas.
What?
We
got
had
our beer rights taken away from us, too.
right, and that we had little people and average-sized people and crew members getting drunk by after lunch. So it's like, okay, we're taking the beer. It's like, well, what do you think? You're serving us beer at lunch for free. There are those guys who say, well, one's good, well, two's better. 4 is great.
One person couldn't keep her, she's drinking, and then when we were filming, she couldn't balance herself.
No, she almost fell off
Right.
down the stairs.
Right, and they
She
took
literally almost fell down the stairs.
They took the beer rights away from her.
Right there.
All the guys were
All
mad.
because of her.
Do you think
Yeah.
they set that up just
Yeah,
to
the
get some
guys were all
funny
mad.
shots
They
and
gave
it
us
got out of
ginger ale.
hand?
I don't know about that. Maybe to lose their inhibitions. I don't know.
Inhibitions, like
But,
it
but
was
the crew was
intended
drinking
for
too. It
funniness.
was the 80s.
No wonder why it took 22 weeks.
weeks.
The crew was drinking.
But it's sad that the director really never directed after that. The first AD, I don't think, ever AD'd after that. The second did very well. I worked with him on Malcolm in the Middle as a producer. He did very well on that. But it was you had 50. They somehow had 52 drivers on it. So as a teamster, they loved it. What are you going to do with 52 drivers? I don't know, but they were, it's ridiculous. But we just had a great time with it. Chevy Chase, if you know Chevy Chase. Carrie Fisher had her problems with what was going on. She always had her problems with demons, and we noticed that on Under the Rainbow. And so when her book came out, it was like, that's what it is. And so and those types of things, she had to keep working because she was the second bill. She was, on the call sheet. She was starring in the show. And so it was a constant, she had to wake up and get her hair done and work all day with those problems going on. And so it was just, we just had but all in all, we had a great time.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of actors in that show, too.
Right.
There's a lot of actors
Carrie
in that
Fisher
show.
was in that.
Oh, yeah, Carrie Fisher was on that.
Adam Arkin.
Adam Market, who's now a big director, producer.
He has a question over here.
Oh, go ahead.
You've already-
How many Ewoks were in Jedi? There was 35 American extras, I think 5 leads from Britain, and 5 stunt guys, and then there were about 35 British extra Ewoks. The British did 7 days at Elstree Studios, and the Americans did 5 weeks in Crescent City, California.
Go ahead, you.
Were all the Ewoks invited to the premiere for Return of the Jedi?
Only the ones that weren't fired. There was a few that were fired, and they weren't. There was different problems that go on. Tracy and I will go into that with the book of how there were problems that it's a very hard outfit to work in, and also you're working with 35 people for 5 weeks, and sometimes problems do occur. Sometimes caused by themselves or caused by someone else, and you can only, and the people who were like a trouble or something before it got out of hand were asked to leave. So they weren't invited, but everybody else was invited.
Go ahead.
This one scene I remember in Caravan of Courage, where you're all riding over, you're riding up a hill, and you're riding on those horses. I don't know what animal it was underneath.
It was a horse.
It was a horse, and it had those round horns and almost like a trunkish thing.
No, that's not in
like
our
a
movie.
woolly
That's like
mammoth?
that's in like another Star Wars
That's
movie.
a banta. Bunta.
Yeah.
What is it? A banta? A banta.
Yeah.
That's in Star Wars or Mandalorian. They're riding those.
You mentioned how you were having a hard time seeing. Did they put anything on the animals that gave them fright, that made them not be able to see what they were doing?
Me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walked right into that one.
I understand that a lot of the characters from the original Ewok or Caravan of Courage movie were then passed on to other subsequent movies. Can you talk about that? Some of the characters that came out of the Ewok Adventure?
No, well, I think I know what he's referring to. A lot of stuff was borrowed from Caravan of Courage and Ewoks Battle For Endor for other Star Wars stuff, like, the Blurg was put in The Mandalorian. The Sharo the Witch was said to be probably the original origin of the
Ahsoka?
no,
Oh, no, the other one, the new one. What's the
Night
new one?
Sisters. Yeah, Night
Night
Sisters.
Sisters.
Yeah, so, and at one point, I think in Celebration Chicago, Jon Favreau joked, they asked him where he got his ideas for The Mandalorian. He said, Caravan of Courage. And everybody started, it was like, oh, okay, great.
Right on.
All right, well, that's gonna be it for the panel of courage. We want to thank everybody for coming on out. And if you have any questions, or later maybe you could see us at the show, come by and get an autograph from Kevin, get his book, Margo, Niki here. Well, the reason why I lost my train of thought is a lot of people don't realize Niki continues to work with, and so does Kevin, with Lucasfilm. So Kevin's in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Niki plays the Gonk droid in Obi-Wan Kenobi as well, and she's also in Ahsoka. So come by and get some pictures, and I'm sure we'll share some stories.
Skeleton Crew coming out later this year.
Yes, you're in a Skeleton Crew. Great, awesome.
And we would like to thank you,
Thank you.
my
Yeah.
godfather, the
She calls
godfather.
me the Godfather.
This is the godfather now, because he's chill, calm, cool, but he gets shit done. And he doesn't even raise his voice, you know what I mean? And I wasn't even referring to the position.
All right.
I'm gonna offer you something that you can't refuse.
I hope you do.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.